Hey humans, I'm Batsy. Have you ever made a massive underwater perimeter for your base and thought, you know what I could do with all of this? I could probably transform the entire place into a massive drown farm. No? Is that just me? Alright, I know what you might be thinking. Batsy, this perimeter is unreasonably big to convert it into a farm. And how are you even going to gather the drowned? And how are you even going to kill them? Aren't you going to die with the drowned too? And more importantly, how do you always get these lunatic ideas? Okay, first of all, I think this is actually a genius idea. I know it does sound dumb, but hear me out. Drowned only spawn underwater at a certain depth and certain light level. That means that as long as we light up the upper areas where the factories go, we could use the bottom layers of the perimeter for the farm. That should narrow the space where the drowned will show up and also make it so we only need to avoid going to the very bottom to not fall into the farm itself. I mean, that still sounds like it's gonna have a ton of problems, but it doesn't sound as lunatic anymore. The other thought I had is that I just want to make a farm to get a trident every once in a while. The farm itself doesn't need to be actually good, it just needs to be okayish. So with that in mind, my thought was that why not gather the few drowned that are constantly spawning around and move them around in the most inefficient way to see if we can ever get a trident or two. And of course the most important thing of this entire project. 𝐋𝐢𝐧𝐤𝐬 over there, he is the coolest dude, right? Well, wouldn't it be even cooler if he would eat the drowned for us, and with that, convert him to the farm itself? I mean, come on, that does sound super cool. This is one of those projects that I honestly have no idea how long it's gonna take me, because the idea of it is honestly the simplest thing in the world, but I don't know yet if I'm going to have 1,000 problems to pull it off or not. What I'm thinking of doing is that you can use a nozzle on an encased fan to either blow or suck items and entities. In general, that's not used a whole lot because normally there is gravity and working with either belts or water is just a whole lot easier. But in this particular example, we could, in theory, spread some encased fans around and pull all of the drowned towards them. Then I'm thinking of adding a second layer of fans to continue pulling them down. Once they are all in the same spot, killing them should be the easiest thing in the world. I imagine I can throw a mechanical saw in there, maybe two. Or a couple of crushing wheels or something. I'm not too worried about that part. What I'm not sure about is the idea of the encased fans. It will either work perfectly or be a massive failure. But I do think it's a solid plan. Like I said, doesn't need to be fast and efficient, so long as it works. Somewhat. I went to the test world, and I think I have made some kind of progress. I think. I was adding some rows of encased fans with nozzles. My idea is to pull them in from the first one, and then I thought maybe I could wire it so they push them away for a fraction or something while the fan below pulls them in, and with that, move them down the line. That's more or less what I'm thinking about, making chains of fans that activate at different intervals to move the mobs along. But something interesting happened while I was doing this. You see, I added all of this wood to prevent the mobs from staying on top of the nozzles, otherwise, they simply stay there and it makes it harder to push them down. So to fix that, I found this weird interaction that might make things a lot easier. If we spawn a drowned in here, it gets pushed in as you would expect. But look, it just slides down on its own. It tries to resist at the beginning, but after that, it just slides down with no problem. My idea right now is why not make the farm be a few of these columns and try to avoid having to move them horizontally. I imagine having belts at the bottom will be enough to work the rest. So if I place a column here, at the furthest point possible, which is still within the mouth, I can probably attract drowned from all the way here, which should make it for a pretty decent area. Assuming it extends a few blocks off the mouth in all directions, we can check the chunks to see how much that would be. Okay, that would be around 4 chunks in each direction. That sounds like it's plenty good for a farm. Assuming we can spawn-proof the rest of the perimeter, I really think that's more than enough to get some drowned. So there are 2 things that need to happen now. Finish the columns of encased fans to cover the entire mouth, and spawn-proof the entire perimeter to see if we can focus all of the drowned in this area instead. It's gonna take a while to do, but I imagine it can't be too complicated. We just need to spread sea lanterns around. This is what I have done so far, and to be honest, I was originally planning to cover the entire bottom of the perimeter, but I think it's covering enough space right now. Assuming that everything else manages to get spawn-proof, the size looks pretty decent. I have gone as high as 𝐋𝐢𝐧𝐤𝐬 to leave enough room above the farm to build other stuff. And I'm also thinking of changing the logs for glass blocks instead. Hopefully that makes it look a little bit better than right now, or at least it doesn't disturb the view as much. What I will be doing next is to see if I can start adding rows and rows of sea lanterns. That should make a difference in the spawns if I do it properly. The easiest way I can think of to go about this is by making a grid at the highest point and just see to work down from there. For now, I just want to place the main lanterns to cover the larger areas. I'm leaving a space of 28 blocks between them, which makes it a square of 14 blocks around each of the lanterns. And as I said that, it made me realize that the light radius is obviously a radius and not a square. I will have to adjust the distances a little bit. But that's fine. Right now I just want to get an idea of how many of them do we need to place down. To speed things up a little bit, I will be using some World Edit to copy the lanterns down from the grid I just made. I'm using a mask so only water gets converted to avoid breaking anything from the perimeter. Okay, I think this will do for now, and I think I'm happy with it. It's not as many lanterns as I thought it was going to be. However, I still need to add more to adjust for the spheres instead of the squares. It already seems to be somewhat working. Most of the drowns seem to be spawning on the edges where there are no lights. Well, this is being a success so far, I think. I tell you what I'm going to do. I will move this idea to the server and start working on those lights at least. This perimeter is too big to make a schematic. My thinking is that if I build everything here, I'm just gonna need to repeat it there. The main ideas seem to work, so better to be doing progress over there instead. I will bring you all back when I have some more progress done. Some hours later. I made some progress on the SMP, but I also have some bad news. It doesn't seem to work on the live server. I have no idea why, and it's honestly mildly annoying. For some reason, the interaction that was happening on the test server is not happening here. They simply don't go down like they were doing over there. For some reason, they are constantly being pulled towards the fans and aren't able to go down on their own. I have no clue why this is happening if I'm honest with you. On the test server, it was working 100% of the time, and it should have the same mods and same everything. The frustrating part is that this is the second time it has happened now that I come up with stuff that works on the test server, and the moment I move to the live one, it simply doesn't work at all. It happened before with the tunnel bore, which entirely ruined the project, and to be honest, I'm not sure there is a much better way to fix this one either. Oh well, that's enough complaining. I don't have a good plan to fix the situation, but I do have a couple of ideas to at least move the enemies around. Worst case, I think we can make use of bubble columns and either kill the enemies up in the surface or down in the mouth. I believe a deployer needs to kill the drowned, otherwise they will give no loot, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I hope not anyway. Several days later. Alright, it took a while, but I have done something. It's not pretty, but it is something. Let's take a look at it in free game. It's gonna be a whole lot easier to see. Especially the spawns. It all depends on me being up there to spawn properly. While I'm at it, I'm going to remove the bubble columns because it's making my eyes bleed, and it's honestly destroying my FPS. That is so much better. Alright, so the farm. I ended up going for a basic magma block setup. Everything outside of the center should be spawn-proof, so all of the drown that appear in the middle get dragged down into the magma platform. Here they are moved around by the cart, which leaves them on a corner, where they get killed by a deployer. It's not pretty, it's not efficient, but it works, sometimes. The floor is magma, which kills the drowned if they bug out or the cart isn't quick enough, and sometimes they simply walk away after being pushed, which is kinda annoying. But most of the time it does work and the enemies die just fine. The loot is not even that bad. This is from a few hours of the farm actually working. The second barrel even has a trident. That's awesome. I might have to run this overnight to see how well it really does. Who knows, maybe. Maybe we even get a dozen tridents and we don't need to use it anymore. As for the perimeter, you might have noticed that I ended up adding a lot more sea lanterns, like thousands more. I thought I already had them fairly close together, but I kept seeing drowns spawning in random places, so in the end I went all out on it. I basically took a cluster of several sea lanterns and made a schematic with it and spent countless hours with the cannon adding a few lanterns at a time. It sounds painful, but it was honestly not too bad. Placing schematics in the middle of the sea is surprisingly quick and easy. I also decorated the tree farm I made last week. I wasn't able to do a whole lot because the leaves spawn everywhere and ruin anything you place near it, so I mainly covered the mechanical parts with a couple of details. I also took the chance to move more tanks to the side, trying to have a tank as close to the pipes as possible, so it doesn't happen like in the last episode when it was wasting saplings. The detail that I'm really proud of are these pipes. I honestly think they look super cool. It took me a long time to figure out how to do them with the new copycats we added to the server, and I honestly love the end result. All of the curves and bends look so neat. I really like this. But that's enough of underwater stuff for a bit. My eyes are starting to bleed from being down there. As mentioned in a previous episode, I'm starting to think about making a new base and leaving this as the industrial district. And now that I have a million sea lanterns burning my eyeballs, I think it's time to go. There are a few spots that I thought about. Maybe we could go check them out and see what you all think. I still want to be near water, but many places along the coast are already taken. On the other side of the ocean, there are these mushroom islands. The north one is meant to be the shopping district, but it's connected to this one at the south of it that looks promising. I moved there to check, and I'm not gonna lie, this biome smells like curry. I like the idea of no mobs, but I will have to terraform all of this. I don't really like it at all. Oh, there are some cute mushroom creepers. That's funny. But they don't seem to do much. Anyway, one idea that I'm thinking is that I could terraform part of this and just have a wall around my custom biome, as if I was keeping the corruption away from the town. I think that could be cool, but there are so many particles floating around. The second location I saw is this cute island, but looks like someone has been spawn-proofing it. Not sure if any human has plans to build in here. The only problem is that it feels obnoxiously close to the neighbor. Not sure if they're gonna like that. But the size of the island is pretty good. I'm happy with these dimensions. There is this tiny island too, which I'm not joking. this is absurdly tiny. It's like a couple of chunks, maybe 3 at most. I think it could be a fun challenge. I would have to figure out how to squeeze everything in this tiny place. And I can always work vertically. There is always plenty of space underground. It's a bit close to the neighbor too, so I'm not sure if they're going to mind that, especially if we lag each other with machines. I also saw this tiny island too, which is another one of those absurdly small ones. I'm honestly not sure I can do a whole lot in here, to be honest. One thing is for sure, I want to go back to land. Being underwater is legit starting to make my eyes bleed. I mean, not literally, but it's getting hard on my sight. It doesn't help that the perimeter now is a Christmas mess, but I would like some opinions on where to make my new base. Do I pick one of those tiny islands? Try to find an island that is a bit bigger? Or maybe terraform the south of the shopping district and try not to get too bothered by the particles? Oh, I guess one last option would be to just create an artificial island of my own. That could always work. Let me know in the comments what option you like best. I will keep an eye on those, and I will see you all next time.